All right, thank you everyone for joining today's webcast. My name is Sandra Smith, and I'm going to go ahead and get started today. Today, we're going to be talking about Sage ERP intelligence reporting and creating dashboards. So again, thank you everyone for joining. Thank you for taking time out of your busy days to join our webcast. And just to let everyone know, everyone's been muted. So we wanted to try to cut down on the background noise. And in addition, though, we're also recording. So we're recording this webcast so that you can look at it later if you choose to, maybe share it with some of your coworkers. And so this webcast will be about 20-30 minutes. We're going to walk through creating dashboards, so we'll go ahead and begin. So this webcast is about Sage Intelligence, and Sage Intelligence, as you may or may not know, works on all of the Sage ERP accounting systems. So that means Sage 50 Canadian edition, Sage 50 US edition, PFW, Sage 100, Sage 300 ERP, Sage 500 ERP, and also Sage ERP X3. So this webcast is also for those of you on any of these ERPs. And let's just talk a little bit about what Sage Intelligence is and how it can meet your needs. So Sage Intelligence is an Excel-based reporting program. So Excel is our front end, and I'm bringing in all of these bullet points to show you what Sage Intelligence can do for you. So we'll talk about, first of all, it can eliminate spreadsheet chaos. It's an environment that's very controlled, which means you can control your report creations. You'll save your reports in Report Manager. So that means that everyone who runs your reports and looks at the reports, they're all looking at the same version of the truth, okay? So, and only people who you choose to look at the reports can indeed look at those reports. And it's a very big time and money saver. It automates your report preparation. Very easy to create your financial reports, your balance sheets, your income statements, your quarterly balance sheets, your rolling income statements, all of your financials. Very easy to create them, and once you create them, you save them, and when you run your reports out again, since Sage Intelligence is connected to your Sage ERP, it will run that data out into Excel, and you will see the latest information from your ERP. And so all of your users can easily run those reports and look at the latest information from your ERP. It's very flexible. You can customize your reports. You can make changes to any of your reports using Microsoft Excel. So it's very easy to do within Microsoft Excel. And then you can save those reports back. You can include charts to your reports so your users can look at the information from a graphical standpoint, not just a table standpoint. And we also enable collaboration. So this is very important for your users. You can, once you create your reports, you can send them to distribution lists, to single people, to a single email. You can send it to a Dropbox if you want. You can send it to anywhere on your network. And you can also send it in the format, of course, Excel, but you can also send it in a PDF format, HTML. So many, many options for you to distribute your reports once you've created them. You can also do this automatically, so you can schedule it to be run and maybe sent to a folder or sent within an email, and you can schedule that task or that report to be sent. It consolidates data. Now this is very important. So not only can Sage Intelligence work and enable you to create your financial reporting needs, but it also enables you to create reports from sources outside of your ERP. These are any ODBC compliant databases. Simply make a connection, pull that data source in, and you can create reports from any other database, and you can consolidate that data. So not only can you consolidate your financial reports with many different companies, but you can also consolidate your data by incorporating your financial data along with maybe some information or data from another source. Now, we provide you predefined reports out of the box. There's many standard reports depending on your ERP. And these reports, again, they're all run out into Excel. Excel is a very familiar interface. That's where you can view all of these predefined reports, and that's where you can also create your own reports if you choose to do so. Okay, so that's how Sage Intelligence can meet your needs. Let's talk a little bit about how it works. So, from the standpoint of running a report out, let's just start on the left-hand side with the cylinders, our data sources. And again, the connector is the module that you use to connect to multiple sources. You can Sage Intelligence is shipped with a connection already to your ERP, be it Sage 50, 100, Sage 300, Sage ERP X3. So there's already a connection to your ERP, but you can create new containers off the data within your ERP. You can also create new containers within the connector module that pulls fields and tables from other sources. It can be Excel even. It can be a CRM source. So you can pull additional fields and create new tables by which you can then create a report to pull from that data. And in Report Manager, that's where you're going to create that report. That's where you can restore all of your reports there. You can add filters to your reports. And maybe you want to filter out certain warehouses, or filter by year, or filter by date, or there's many different methods by which you can modify or filter your reports. And you can also schedule your reports to run, and then it also includes other advanced options using Report Manager, lots of information. And at the end of this webcast, please stay tuned, because I'm going to show you some resources on how you can use Report Manager, Connector, create reports, and so forth. All kinds of resources we have available for you. So finally, we're in Report Manager. We've created a report. We've set up our filter. We know what data we're going to bring in. We can run the report out to Excel. And Excel is where you're going to view your information. You're going to drill down to your information and look at some of the supporting data behind it. Excel is where you're going to create your report, modify your report, distribute your report. So a lot of the work is done in Excel. Then you're going to save it back to Report Manager so that when you run it out again, it's going to pull that new information from your ERP, from the database source that you're using. All right, and this is just a list of the standard reports that we have. Dashboard analysis, which is what we're going to be talking about today. You see a dashboard there on the screen. We also have customer sales reports, inventory status reports. We have vendor purchase reports. We've got, of course, our financials, consolidated financials, trend analysis, GL transaction details, and the report designer add-in or task pane financial designer reports. So all kinds of reports that come standard. But again, what we're going to be talking about today is how to create a dashboard. So let's go ahead and get started with creating that dashboard. And I will wake up the ERP here. There we go. Now, in this demonstration, I'm going to be using the Sage 300 Intelligence Reporting 2014 version, but this could be any of the ERPs that I mentioned before. This could be Sage 50. This could be your Sage ERP X3, Sage 100. And this is Report Manager, where this is where we'll run the reports out. And I've created a report here called Dashboard Report, and I've gone ahead and run it out. Now, this report, I happen to be using just a simple Access database. It includes all kinds of information. You see at the top here, cost, price, customer category, and so forth, and order number. There's all kinds of information here. So this is great. I have lots of information, lots of fields. It's pushing the data into Excel, and it pushes it into this sheet, but then I look at it and it's really kind of difficult to make decisions from it, don't you think? So maybe rather than just a list of data, we want to put it in such a format where we can make decisions from it. And so we'll go ahead and do that by, first of all, selecting a new sheet. And so what I'm going to do is, using Excel, Microsoft Excel, I'm going to simply choose the Insert tab, choose a pivot table, all right? And first of all, it says you want to select a table or a range to that pivot table. So this, what I want to do is I want to kind of get in my mind, what is it that I want to see? So let's say that I want to see information about my customers. I want to see what products they're buying, how much of the products that they're buying. I want to see how the salespeople are doing. And so what I want to do is I want to go out to that sheet of data that I have in this report, and I want to put it in such a format where I can see all of that information at once. So to select the table or range, I'm just simply going to go to Sheet 1. And I can type raw data in here, or for those of you who are familiar with Excel, you can just simply press F3 and scroll down and choose raw data. I've already typed it in, so I already have that ready to go. It's going to be sent to that existing worksheet, that's Sheet 3, and I simply select OK. So this is my pivot table. My pivot table field list pops up, and there's many, many different ways I can sort this data in Sheet 1, my source data. So the first thing I wanted to look at is I wanted to look at my customers. So if I come over here to the right to the pivot table field list, I simply look for my customer. I can maybe add the customer code, no, maybe just the name. So I'm going to go ahead and choose the customer name, and then I want to know what they've bought. So I can come down here to the bottom and choose total sale. I can also choose total cost if I choose to. So now I have my customer name and my total sale, and I look at the numbers, and it's not quite what I'd like to see. I want to change this a little bit. So I'm going to get this drop-down list over here in the pivot table field list. Now you can also do this up at the top here as well, but I'm going to get the drop-down. I'm going to add field value settings here. And I'm going to change the number format. So I select the number format button, and I simply choose whichever one I'd like. I happen to like to see currency. I want to see that little dollar sign, and I want it out 2 decimal places. So select OK, select OK again, and it changes the look. And here I have the ability to sort, so I can unselect the Select All button, and I can choose whatever customer I'd like to look at or group of customers. I can just keep sorting and selecting all I choose. But in order to create a dashboard, your users, they can simply select the drop-down button. But most important, let's take a look at what our top 5 customers are. And in doing so, I can simply get the drop-down, select Value Filters, come down to this top 10. There's a lot of other choices you can do, but I'm going to go ahead and just choose top 10 and scroll back to my top 5, and there are my top 5 customers. So I have my top 5 customers and the sum of the total sale. So here I can, if I'd like to, let's say I just want to change the color of it. I have so many choices to change the color of this particular table. Let's say I choose a nice green outlined in black here, all right? And then I can maybe make it a little bit bigger. I can also insert a heading, top 5 customers, like so. Okay, so now I have my top 5 customers, and I think, well, I'd like my users to be able to glance at it, so I'm going to maybe include a chart. So you have to make sure that your cursor is in the pivot table, and then you can select the Analyze tab and come over here to Pivot Chart, select your list, and just choose from any of the available choices or charts here. I'm going to go ahead and choose the 3D clustered one, select OK, and there's my chart. Now it's a floating object, so I can simply insert it wherever I'd like. I'm going to go ahead and just insert it right below it. I can change that later if I'd like. And then here I'm going to hide all the field buttons. Sorry, I'm going to hide all the field buttons on a chart. Okay, so now we have our chart, we have our top 5 customers, and then next what we want to do is, let's say we wanted to take a look at our products. We could look at our top 5 products. We can look at anything we'd like to around the products, maybe the customers who've bought them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to simply make a copy of this table, all right, and enter right here and paste, because all I need to do in this case is put my cursor within this table. It looks like identical, right? Well, we can change it very easily by coming over here and keeping total sale, but let's say we want to look at our products. So I can add product ID, but let's go ahead and include a product name. Now, I've already made changes to the total sale over here, remember, with this table, so I don't really need to make any changes from that perspective. But I have the product name. I can uncheck the customer name so that all I'm looking at are our products. And again, you can filter here, or you can even include a filter if you want to filter by product name as well. But let's say, again, we want to just, we've got a table up here of top 5 customers. Why not include top 5 products as well? So remember, get the drop down here, value filters, go to the bottom, top 10, simply scroll down to the top 5, and there are our top 5 products. Again, we can change the design of it. Let's say we want it in a yellow, or maybe this yellow with a heading. And then once again, if we want to have our users take a look at it from a chart perspective, we can insert a chart. Now this time I kind of like pie charts. So I think what I'm going to do is include this 3D pie chart. Yeah, that looks good. Slide it underneath my top 5 products. There we go. And once again, we can hide all the buttons just to be able to look at more information on our chart. So there we have our top 5 customers. I'm going to go ahead and add a heading here, top 5 products. And that looks good. So we can see how a dashboard is kind of forming, but we want to make it interactive. And we also want to see how our salespeople are doing. So I can also include top 5 salespeople, but let's just say for this one, I'm going to go to my Analyze tab, and I'm going to include a slicer. And I can slice this data across any of these fields that I've included. But in this case, I want to, where's my salesperson? I want to slice it according to salesperson. So I just select OK, and there is the salesperson slicer. Now with the salesperson slicer, I can simply select Dave, and I see all of the total sale items, all of the products that he sold, and then a nice graphic. I can select Fred and see the same thing, and Tom. And of course you can see it by product, by what the top 5 products are for each of those gentlemen. Okay, and so I'm thinking this is all nice. I love this slicer, and I can put this slicer, like the graphs, I can put the slicer anywhere I'd like. But you know what I'd like to do is I'd like this table to be incorporated with the slicer, so I can slice and watch both customers and products. In order to do that, I simply go to my Analyze tab, my filter connections here in the filters group. So I'll open that, select the top 5 customers, select OK, and now notice each person, a salesperson that I'm highlighting, the tables change and the graphics change. So when you save this report in Report Manager and you send it off and someone opens the viewer and they run the report out, they look at the report themselves, they can make the changes here dynamically, and they can watch the dashboard change according to the views that they'd like to see. All right. So finally, let's say we want to look at the time frames for all of our top 5 customers and our top 5 products and according to salesperson. So I can simply go back to my Analyze tab, select my Insert Timeline, and it's really only one because date is time. And I'm going to go ahead and, it's another floating object. Go ahead and set it down here at towards the bottom. Now I'm going to stretch it out because what I'd like to do is I can look at it in days, I can look at it in years, I can look at it in quarters, I can look at it again in months, and I can choose the specific month I want to look at everything. So since I started on this particular table, as I move this, so does my chart. I'll remove this filter here so I can see everyone. So here's the totals in a graphical form, top 5 products in a tabular form, and I'm changing the dates. I can do the same thing with this one, this table, by simply connect the filters and change the dates, and everything changes. So if I select a date here on the timeline, I have my top 5 customers, my top 5 products, my graphics, and I can still change my salespeople over here. So you can change the salesperson according to this time frame. I can remove the filter and change the time frame here for all salespeople. And this is the dashboard. Of course, you can add anything else, any other data, your inventory you want to add to this, your vendors, you want to see what your vendors are doing, you can add to this. It's simply adding your data, pulling in your data source information, and simply creating pivot tables, creating charts, creating slicers, creating timelines, and really just showing any of your data here. Now let's say we can continue to maybe customize this, maybe make it look a little better, converge and center our titles here. And there we go. Top 5 customers, top 5 products. We can even put in a background if we choose to. We can remove remove the grid lines here. Here we go. Here's our grid lines. So it's on the page layout tab. We can simply remove the grid lines so we don't have any of that behind it. Let's say we add another row. Maybe do the background. Maybe we have a different color of a background. Let's see how that looks. Ooh, not yellow. Whoa, there's a green one. How's that? We'd have to change, see if we can change, there we go. Change our headings right here. So all kinds of changes you can make. Maybe we can change the color of our particular timeline. Let's do orange. There we go. We have a nice light orange there. If I want to drag my timeline, I can do so to incorporate more data. And so this is my dashboard. And I can simply, when I'm finished, I can simply go back to Report Manager, highlight this report, right-click, Save Excel Template, or I can use the Save Excel Template at the top here, and I can save. This is the name of the dashboard that I've previously saved, and I can save it. And it's basically just asking me if I want to, pull the data out of the pivot table. And yes, I do, because when I run this out again, I want it to show me the latest and greatest information from my source, my data source, whether my source is from the ERP, from another source like Excel or CRM or anything like that, or maybe from both. From both of those sources, I can pull a dashboard from it. Now, there's one other dashboard I want to show you. It quite puts mine to shame, but it really is a great dashboard that we have available for you all. Please contact your salesperson, because the Sage Profitability Dashboard is a dashboard we have available as a pre-configured dashboard. We're using 2013, Excel 2013. So you will need Microsoft Excel 2013 to run this dashboard. And it's a good one. It's one that shows your profitability by your customers, by your products, and by salesperson. And you can look at the 4 quadrants here, and each of the quadrants, of course, show your data based on profitability. So if you think about it, the gold quadrant, of course, is where you want to be, because those are your customers that at this point in time, okay, according to the time frame that I've run the report out, these are my customers that are showing the highest volume and the highest margin. So the highest volume of sales, you see that over here, there's the gray is my margin, the tan is my sales. These are the customers that have the highest margin and volume. And contrary to the gold quadrant is a red quadrant, and these are the customers that in this time frame, they are our lowest profitable customers. These are our customers that are buying the least amount, and they are buying at the lowest profitability. And you can interact with this, so you can just see the gold quadrant if you choose, the green and the gold, or if you want to see everything, you can see all of them. And I'm simply holding down a control button and highlighting them to show all of the quadrants. You can change your time interval. You can pop out one of these widgets at the bottom so that you can look at what customers are your lowest quadrant customers or your highest quadrant customers. What are their sales? What are their cost of goods figures? What are their margin figures? You can simply pop that back in. So this shows all of your customers, or you can select the customers per a particular quadrant and view those customers as well. And then we have another pop out here where if you take a look at your customers, maybe you want to contact them immediately. Rather than going and looking up all this information, it's a simple pop up. We have your contact information, the email, phone number, and so forth. And then we have 2 more widgets here, and they're quite exciting. If I pop this one out, it shows our salespeople. So if I hover over it, it shows the sales for Bill and his margin and the time interval I've chosen. But I can also look at how our salespeople are doing at a point in time. So Q1 of this 2020 year, this is where our salespeople are from a sales perspective. And I can just simply, pick out points in time, or what I can do, manually change it. You can see it, the bubbles changing. I can just press the play button, and it shows me, according to the time frame I chose, how the salespeople progressed. I can pop that one back in, and finally show you this widget, which is the map. It's a geospatial map using Bing, and it shows here we go, here's some customers over in Virginia and what their sales were, their address. Got one over here in Southern California, and I can move this map around. I can move out and move back in, so I can look all over, finding my customers and looking at it from a map perspective. So a great dashboard that you can use. It's a Sage Profitability Dashboard, and everyone is welcome to have it. I think you can get it also from the portal. So please look for the Sage Profitability Dashboard. Okay, so that concludes the demonstration portion of our presentation. That's how to create a dashboard. Again, anyone can create a dashboard using pivot tables, using charts, using graphs, using Microsoft Excel slicers and timelines. I think the timelines are in 2013 and the slicers are in Excel 2010, so you really need to upgrade if you're using an older version and really beef up these dashboards and have your users be able to look at their information at a glance so that they can make the kinds of business decisions that they need to make very quickly. As promised, resources. So it's very important that Sage Intelligence provides you with all the resources you need to work with Sage Intelligence. Please go to sageintelligencecommunity.com. You can also go to sageintelligence.com and select the community button. There you'll find a section under groups for your particular ERP, and I have that here. So here if you go to Sage Intelligence Community, I'm on sageintelligencecommunity.com, and if I go to groups, you can simply find your group for Sage 100 here, Sage 300, Sage 50, Sage ERP X3, we've got Sage 500, so many different groups where you can go into each of them. I'm going to pick on 100 now and select the 100 group, and I can go in and I can scroll down. And here on the left-hand side, it shows all of the resources available for Sage 100 ERP 2014, all kinds of resources here. You can also view our videos on the Report Designer add-in, how to convert your FRX reports. That's specific to Sage 100. Sage 300 has the same information relative to the 300 ERP, same thing for the ERP X3, Sage 50. So please check out the groups. There's videos available, and there's also Sage also enables you to beef up your Microsoft Excel education. So we have Excel on steroids. It's a powerful shop. It is a powerful tool for you to be able to go in and train on Excel. There's 3 different levels, beginner to advanced. Learn something new, go to sageu.com, and also go to sageintelligencecommunity.com and get your copy of our Excel tips and tricks book. Now these, we have books that are available, but we also, if you sign up, we'll send you a Excel tips and tricks email once a week, and it gives you all kinds of information on how to use Excel. We provide you with an Excel worksheet to follow along the instructions. They're very simple, they're very easy. You can save all your emails. You can also go out and look at some of the tips and tricks from past times. Okay, and that concludes our presentation, but I invite you to stay on, and please, if you have any questions about this webcast or about Sage Intelligence, please include them in the chat pane, and I'll be happy to answer your question. And we appreciate your time today, so please let me know if there's any questions. I'm going to go ahead and end the recording portion of this webcast. I'll first look and see if there's any questions that are general that I can answer before I turn the recording off. And okay, and I don't see any. There's a few specific ones, but thank you everyone for joining. Please contact us. Go to sageintelligencecommunity.com and take a look at all the resources out there that are there and ready for you to learn Sage Intelligence. Thank you very much.